So I just took a tire off. It's a 26 inch diameter by 2.10. So we're going to replace it with more of a slick or street tire. This tire is a 26 by 1.5 inch, about a ½ inch narrower. Should fit this rim okay. In most cases, it's going to be no problem. If you want, you can go ahead and find your valve hole. Valve hole is right there, right where the stick is, and then you can go ahead and grab your tire. And you're going to look for directions. Some of these tires have directions. And if you cannot find that arrow, because a lot of time it's hidden, it's black, almost use your finger. It's kind of like braille. And this one has a rotation arrow going that way. A lot of times you can look at the tread, and the tread kind of is going in an arrow direction, and that's where the water. So if you're going forward, the water is going to come in, find one of those exits, and shoot off to the sides, so you don't potentially hydroplane. So next thing we're going to do, and this is more for style points and or function. So since we're going that direction, this is a back wheel. My gears are on the right side, so this is correct. We're rolling that direction. This tire has a logo, but its logo is on the other side. It's got a big logo at the bottom, smaller logo at the top here. So we're going to go with this bigger logo here, and we're going to divide that logo in half, right in the middle here, and I'm going to line that up with my valve hole. Valve hole being right at my thumb. My thumb over here is the middle of the logo, so we're going to line these two up. Like I said, again, this could be for style points. It can also be an aid. So when you're in a hurry and you're looking for your valve stem to put air in it, I've done this before. I've spun the tire. I've gone through 3 times. I cannot locate the valve. But if you find your logo, you're going to find your valve. Like I said, this is also for style points for those of you who are taking notes and judging. So with this, I'm going to lock my tire with my thumb here, and we just want to get one bead of the tire on. So always keep this finger locked, don't let the tire slide. Once you do that, everything will come together, because then you can move around. Always keep that right hand locked, and then you can just make sure that this bead popped on pretty good, so we're in good shape. Beads on this side, open on the other side, so we're good to go. At the bottom is my valve hole. So if you're going to a really narrow tire, you got to make sure your tube is going to match. You don't want to put a oversized tube that fit your old wide tire, because you will run into issues. In an emergency, if you can get it to fit, go ahead, it'll still work. You're just going to struggle a little bit more. Now, finding information on the tires and tubes can be a pain in the butt. Everything blends in, so I can barely read this one. I'm gonna go ahead and stuff it in there. I'm gonna start stuffing it and see what happens. So locating my valve hole on the rim, got my valve here, so we have a little bit of air pressure in here. You just want to maybe give it 1 or 2 pump strokes just to give it some shape. That way when you put it in, it's not going to be twisting on you all by itself. If you got too much air in there as you're installing it, you can go ahead and let a little bit of air out. So first thing I'm going to do is peel back this tire. Go ahead and insert your valve, and then you got to push and wiggle that sucker in there. Once you do that, then you're going to have to get the lip of the tire. We want to open up this lip, get it up and out of the way, and then tuck your tire in. So you're pulling that tire back, making space. There's your hole. Hold that back. Go ahead and insert your valve. Push that in all the way. Pull it from the other side if you have to. Then you're going to go ahead and grab the lip of that tire, lift up, and then tuck that tire inside, just like that. And once you do that, you can rotate this guy, and then you can just start going. Make sure that lip is up, everything's open on this side. Start tucking that tube in there, put it inside, and if it starts getting a little tough because you have too much air in that tube, go ahead and deflate a little bit. For the most part, you just want to make sure this tube is laid out straight, not all twisted up. That's the most important part. And secondly, if this tube is still wanting to make its way out, your tube could be too big. So continue to tuck all the way around. So it's relatively in, it's sticking out a little bit here, but for the most part it's making contact with the inside of the tire. So I'm going to come back to my valve over here. I'm going to use that as my marker. And I'm going to use a lot of the heavy meat of your palm right here, along with the thumb. That's going to be all your muscle right there. So when you need to, you're going to grab that whole tire just like that, grip it, and you're going to tear it back just like that when you're ready to put this whole bead on. So this is going to be the muscle. The other thumb's going to come in, and it's going to push on that lip. And you're going to work on small, about 1 inch at a time. Rotate, hands staying in one position, lock it, don't move. Tuck that tube in a little bit. So I can feel the pressure of that tube is a little bit much, so we're going to let a little air out. I'm just going to use any tool that'll fit in there, better than my finger. There we go. Continue to tuck, grip. And once you get enough on there, you can go ahead and release your other hand and move over, and hopefully it'll cooperate. Keep going. And right now I'm not too worried if I'm seeing a little bit of tube come out. We can always go back to that. Like this guy just walked itself off. We're tucked in here, it came off here. I'm holding here, just keep your hand there, go back to the middle section, get that back in, good to go. So this has more of a tendency to walk itself off because it's a very loose fitting combination of tire and rim. So now I got an open section here all the way around over here. Starting to curl over pretty bad here, but I'm not gonna worry too much. We're gonna continue. So I'm gonna lock one side and try and walk the other side over. And again, I'm using a lot of that meat of the palm, just grabbing and tearing back like a monster. You're not gonna hurt anything here. And I can feel a little bit of air in that tube that's fighting me. I'm gonna let some more air out. Come back. And we got a little bit of tube showing, a little bit of poking out, but if I can get this tire on, we can always go back. So there's a little bit of tube showing right there. So I got all the bead on, all the tire bead is inside the rim. There's a little section here, this little white portion right here, that's a little bit of tube. So I'm not too worried about that. We can always go back to this section. I'm gonna surround it, thumb here, and I'm just gonna basically push and pinch, and I'm gonna pull back to that side, trying to lift up, come back over, push up, over, kind of like massaging, basically massaging it, lifting, getting that tube out. So now the tube isn't showing like it was. I'm gonna push this back and take a peek inside and see if that tube is still curled under the tire, and it looks really good. The tube is back inside, not pinched between the rim and the bead of the tire. Take another peek, make sure that all the bead of the tire is tucked inside the rim. So I'm not seeing any tire sticking outside past this blue portion of the rim. Looks good there. All this, I'm seeing all blue rim here, that looks great. This is the right side of the bike, which means if we're sitting on it, we're going that direction. My rotation, still going the correct direction, all that's good. And this might have moved a little bit, so here's my valve, here's my logo. I really wanted to hit this section right here. I'm off maybe an inch or so, but for the most part we got the majority of the logo. And the other thing I like to do is go ahead and grab your stem, whether it's a Presto valve or Schrader. I'm going to push this up and in just to make sure that this tube is sitting properly and not getting caught on any of the tire bead. So I'm going to push this in, make it disappear, and then bring it back down real gently, just like that. Sometimes things get caught right inside there. You can even push from the back side, push that down just like that. So we're good to put some air in it now. So make sure you have yourself a nice floor pump. They're worth their weight in gold. Pay a decent amount. If you're paying at least 40 bucks and up, you're getting a pretty good pump. This is a Toe Peak Joe Blow Pro. I like this one because it has a longer hose. Anytime you're putting your pump head on, especially when you're working with a Presto valve, the Presto valves are a little bit more delicate. They can bend easier. So if I'm here on the table, I could actually press the whole wheel down. It's going to force the stem to stay upright, and then I can go ahead and shove my pump head on. And you always want to go in a nice straight motion. As I'm pushing down, I'm twisting left and right just to walk it on out to those threads and get a nice bite. You can go ahead and push on this back side here. You're going to push and hold. That way this guy won't disappear. Push and twist. And every pump head's a little bit different. If it doesn't want to put air through, you go to push that pump lever down and it doesn't do anything. Either the pump head is too far down or not down far enough, so you got to just play with it, find the sweet spot. So we're going to put a little bit of air pressure in here. Usually I'm going to do just enough to show the tire start to get some shape and maybe a little bit of height if you're watching the bottom here. 10, 11 PSI. I can still squeeze it really easy, but you want to make sure, we're just doing a double check now to make sure that bead is still in place, because this was a loose fitting tire. A lot of times a section of that tire will pop off. So if you have an open section, that means the tube is going to find that section, it's going to follow it and just start to expand. A lot of times it's on the other side, and if you're not paying attention, it'll start to burst. Sometimes you put it back on your bike, walk away, a minute later, boom! So we're looking good here. I usually do a visual and a physical, because when I was in a hurry, the visual did not work, and yes, I blew it up, and it's pretty loud. Find your pressure, inflate to pressure. This one's 45 to 60 PSI. Every tire is going to vary. Just because it says 60 is the max doesn't mean you have to go to 60. A lot of it has to do with your weight, what you're carrying. I may not go to 60 because I don't want a really harsh ride. your tire is just going to be hitting the road, bouncing like this. So when you're up in the air, you have no control. So you might want to air down a little bit, experiment with that. Like this is max 60, I might go to 50 and play with that. You want a little bit of a cush when you're sitting on that bike. You want to see a little bit of flex down here at the tire if you're bouncing on it with your weight in your butt. A little bit of flex there. That way that tire is going to conform over the road, be a little bit more grippy instead of just bouncing on the road. So I'm going to take this one up to 50. And if you hear some popping, some real noises around the tire, that's a good thing. It's the bead actually expanding because the tube is pushing it outward. And then once it comes outward, it's going to grab the inside of this rim and it's going to lock onto it. Not all the time, sometimes. So don't worry if it does it a bunch or it doesn't do it at all. Put that down. We're going to take this off nice and straight. I'm going to twist left and right as we're going up straight. That way we don't bend your valve. Small details, but that could ruin your day. Take another peek, make sure that tire is looking good. Bead is all hidden inside the rim. It's actually a good looking tire. Dealer's choice, you can go ahead and put your valve cap back on. If you don't have a valve cap, you lost it, not a big deal. I usually ride with no valve cap, no ring for the Presta valve, and you're gonna be perfectly fine. We're good to go. And now we got our logo matched up with our valve right there. And we got the rotation is correct. We're riding that way. Drivetrain is on the right side. Arrow's going that way. We're good to go. If you found this helpful, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. I'm usually loaded with a bunch of tips, probably talk more than I have to, but I usually teach classes, so this is what I do. All right, thanks.